Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk today about resume discrimination. And this is a thing, this really does happen. I had a question today on my during my workshop, and if you don't know, I conduct career chat workshops every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern via Zoom. If you're interested in joining, I'll put the link below. But the question was, about the length of her resume. She says she has, 15, 20 years of experience, and her resume tends to be about 4 or 5 pages long. Now, if you checked out my video, my resume video, and I'll put it here, and I talk about the different components of a resume and what should go on it, you would remember that I shared that you want to put on there relevant experience to the job that you're applying to. Now, some of that experience could come from a previous job, right? And you can put that on there, and I talk about a way in my workshops how to do that. But you don't want to go back. Like, for instance, for me, I have 20 plus years of experience in recruiting and human resources. I'm not going to go all the way back to the mid 90s and talk about when I worked at Georgia Cable Television and there was 5 of us, right? So I'm not going to put all of that on my resume. One, because I know as a recruiter, they're not going to spend that time going through a 4 or 5 page resume. And two, that information, what I did back then is not relevant now. Back then, I used to look at actual applications. I would have actual applications that I would review, and I know that's not, everything's automated now. We're in a very digital society now, so that wouldn't be experience that I would put on there. So rule of thumb, you want to put 7 to 10 years on your resume. And you also want to remember that as a recruiter, we only have so many minutes that we're going to look at your resume anyway. So you want to try to get out or get on that resume all of the pertinent information, so you can get the job that you're applying to. So again, one of the ways that you can be discriminated against is your years of experience on a resume. So that's one. The second way is through dates that you put on your resume. So for instance, the year that you graduated, that's a dead giveaway of excuse me, your age range. You may not be specifically, they may not be able to specifically target your exact age, but the age range is pretty easy to do if they have the year that you graduated college. Not easy to do, but they have some indication, right? So you don't have to put that on your resume. And then again, as we talk about your experience, your work experience and history, you don't have to put dates on there. It's just really just your relevant experience, your previous job, maybe the one before that. But other work experience, 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago, those dates, you don't necessarily have to put those on there, okay? So again, number 2, another dead giveaway would be the dates that you put on your resume. So you want to be conscious of that and think about that, especially as it relates to the dates that you graduate. It could be your when you got your bachelor's or your MBA, or I've even seen people put high school on there. So think about that when you are submitting your resume for a job. Now, the other way that I have seen recruiters and hiring managers discriminate from a resume is by their name. So I know back in the day, we used to do what we would call blind copying a hiring manager, or sharing a resume without a name on it. So all of the other pertinent information would be on there, but the name would not be on there. And the reason being is because in certain cultures, you can tell by the name kind of what their ethnicity is, their race is, and so on and so forth. And I've seen it across the gamut. So it's not one specific culture or race or ethnicity, but I've seen it for several. And I myself have experienced where hiring managers would not look at a candidate, and I know full well that they are experienced or they have the skills that align with the job description. And so it would dawn on me what's happening. And so I do it automatically now. If I see that occurring, it doesn't happen now as much, but back a while ago, years ago, at some of the places that I work, I saw it happening. And I would just take the name off and send it over, because ultimately you should be assessed on your skills, on your areas of expertise. So that's one of the ways that people or hiring managers and some recruiters will discriminate. If recruiters have talked to the hiring managers, it's what we call an intake meeting, where we go in and we speak with the hiring managers, and basically we just go over the job description and we ask them, what are the must-haves from this job? If you can have your ideal candidate, what are some of the must-have requirements for the job? Now, we have the requirements in front of us, but we like to get like the top 3 or top 5 that they just cannot do without. The person coming into this particular position must have these skills. So we talk through that and other things about the position, what they'll be working on and projects and so on and so forth. And I know these things for a fact. If I get a candidate that has applied, or I find a candidate on my own and they have these skills, because we've had this conversation, and I send it over to the hiring manager and the feedback is not a fit or not qualified or something like that, then I know something else is happening and I need to find out what that is. And typically I'll ask a hiring manager, why do you not want to see this candidate? Can you provide additional feedback? Because not a fit really doesn't fly with me, or that's not helpful for me or for you as a hiring manager. I need to know what the reason is, and not a fit is not a good enough reason. So if I get pushback or I don't get a good enough reason, and again, this was years ago, then I kind of get an inkling. I got an inkling on what was going on with that, and then I started sending blind resumes. And so that does happen. What you can do is, let's take my name, Kelly Jackson. I know guys named Kelly. I know other races, ethnicities that with people named Kelly. And so I could easily put Kelly J. And if I thought it was my last name because it's Jackson and they were just assuming I was of a certain race or something like that, I could do Kelly J. Now, I do remember one particular incident that happened, and again, this was years ago. I have so many stories, but this was years ago. I did a couple interviews over the phone with this one company, and I talked to the recruiter over the phone, and then I think I remember it was the hiring manager, and I talked with them on the phone, great conversation, and then they invited me in. And I'll never forget, I went in and I was the only one in the lobby waiting for the hiring manager. When the hiring manager came out, it was just as obvious as I'm sitting here now that they didn't know that I was black. And when the person saw me, I saw it on their face that they didn't realize that I was black. And I guess over the phone, they assumed I was maybe another ethnicity. Now, again, these are my assumptions, but you kind of know, you know what I mean? And so ultimately, I didn't get the job, but that just goes to show you that this isn't something I heard about or somebody told me about. This is, the stuff I share is stuff I experience. And so it happens. And, those are a few ways around when things like that occur, or if you're concerned about things like that happening to you. Those are a few workarounds for that. So in terms of your name, you can put your middle name. I see that all the time. I see that currently. I see names in quotation marks, like this is what people call me there's a name that, if they're concerned about mispronunciation or something along those lines. So, like I said, it does happen. So, just to recap, when we're talking about resume discrimination, we shared that one of the ways that you can be discriminated on your resume is by the dates that you have on your resume, right? And the other way that you can be discriminated against is by your name, the way your name is written on the resume. And then lastly, the other way that we talked about that you can be discriminated is by your years of experience, right? So just keep that in mind when you're submitting, and if it's a concern to you, use those techniques. Let me know if they're helpful. If you've experienced it, I'd love to hear your comments. See your comments below and see what you did about it, or if it's happened to you, and if you know that it really is a thing. So hopefully this was helpful, and you can use some of those tips and tricks to help you moving forward. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video.